Good.
All right, so I'm Dylan. This is Austin. We're going to be doing some pre-game duties. So that's like before your game starts, and when you first get on the shift. So the first thing you're going to want to do is go to the office, and you're going to clock in. So to clock in, you're just going to give whoever's sitting at the desk your 850 number. And then after you clock in, that's when you're going to check out your stripes. They're going to be in the back. They're divided by the size, and then that's when also you're going to check out your equipment. So this year the officials are checking out flag belts on behalf of the teams. You're also going to be checking out a watch and your flags as well, and that's just so we can keep up with them. And then you'll check them back in at the end of your shift for the next crew to come in and check those items out as well. And
do you have scorecards, or do you want me to go grab them?
We can just do it without them. One of the things that you'll get it from your flag soup or the sign-ins person, is a scorecard, and the scorecard should come with the team names already on them, already written on them. What you're going to want to do is go to the captain of each team, or go to find a member of each team for your game. Ask them your team name, and then when they tell you your team name, you write down whatever color penny they got. So if you're one of the teams is team football and they have blue, you would write blue beside their name, just so you can remember that throughout the game. So the most important things that the scorecards have to have is going to be name of each team. You want to put your team color, and you're going to want to check off who won the coin toss and what they selected. So for a coin toss, what you're going to do is, if you don't have a coin, you could do odd or even. So typically I don't have a coin with me, so the way we would select sides or who gets ball is you would pick the visitor, and the visitor is going to be on the scorecard, so it should say who's home and who's away. So you would ask the visiting captain to pick odd or even. So if Austin's the visiting captain, I'm gonna turn my back towards the home captain and say odd or even. So you can pick
Odd.
It was odd, and then he would get to select side, offense or defense, or defer. So we went over those options on the other day in training. What does side mean? Yeah, so that means you're picking the side of the field that you want to defend. Typically, you're going to want to push teams away from doing this, because if they pick side, they won't be getting the ball the next half.
If they pick defend, go ahead and recommend them to defer the option to the other team, because whoever gets first option, the next team gets the choice. So if they choose defense to start off, then the other team could get the ball at half, same as they got the ball at the beginning.
Yes, so typically there are 4 options technically that they can pick from, but you're going to want to push them towards either offense if they want the ball, so they have to say offense, or if they want to defend first, you're going to want to say defer, so then they can pick offense in the second half. Because if they just pick defense, they won't. In the first half, they'll play defense in the second half, because they won't get the option to have the ball in the second half. And then after the team that won the toss selects either offense or defer, that's when you're going to ask the defense which side they would like to defend. And, so for the captain's meeting, typically you can do the coin toss or select sides after the captain's meeting, but if you want to do it before, it's really either or. But just make sure before you end the captain's meeting that you go over some basic rules. Make sure that make sure the captains know that players with pockets are not allowed to wear a flag belt, and that it'll be one-hand touch for those players. Any players that want to wear a flag belt cannot have pockets. You also want to tell them about illegal equipment, so they can have no metal cleats, no jewelry whatsoever. And I would always define what jewelry is. Most people think it has to be like a necklace or earring, but it could be like it could be wristbands, it could be hair ties, anything on the arms, legs, ears, nose, a mouth that you weren't born with, that you put there, is going to be jewelry, and it's going to need to be taken off. The one exception to that is if someone's wearing a medical or racing bullet, and they will have to put tape over it, and they'll be good to go.
That's pretty rare though, so in most cases if they're wearing anything on the arms they have to take it off.
And then additionally in the captain's meeting, you're gonna want to go over some of the rules and some of the penalties that you see nightly that are common. I would explain run blocking or screening, because that is the most confusing thing for our teams. It's telling them that you want their arms behind their back or right here, that you don't want them to extend their elbow or extend their leg, because you will call that as a penalty. So just tell them about things that you as an official are specifically looking for. And that's the main thing. I always talk about shielding, screening at the captain's meeting, so they are aware when we call those penalties.
Flag guarding also goes with that, so if they keep their elbows in front of the flag, if they're blocking it whatsoever, it's a flag guarding. So just recommend whenever people are coming to grab their flags, hold the ball out or up, just so they don't get confused on that call.
And to end the captain's meeting, you're going to want to ask if they have any questions and answer those questions. So you just give them the time to clear up any discrepancies in the rules, and because if you don't give them that time, they're going to be asking you questions during the game. So clear those questions up with your supervisor if you have a question, and clear those questions up with the team and the players before it's going to be a problem during the game. And then last thing, as you guys know, we have 4 10-minute quarters. Each team's going to have 2 timeouts per half. Timeouts do not roll over to the next half. And then the last thing we're going to cover is under 2 minutes in the second half. So what's different about the last 2 minutes of the second half?
You stop the clock.
You stop the clock for your major and minor clock stoppers. So under 2 minutes, if there are no penalties, no timeouts, no clock stoppers, and the ball stays in bounds, the clock is going to still be rolling. So you don't stop the clock every play unless there's a clock stopper. So the important thing for clock stoppers is to communicate with your crew and the players when the whistle is going to start. So for your minor clock stoppers, it's going to start on the wind or the whistle. So typically when I announce the yard distance, so it's first down, 20-yard line to gain, I will say clock will start on my whistle, and then when I blow my whistle, you wind to let them know that clock has started. If it starts on the snap, I will say clock will start on the snap. And it's important to communicate with your back judge, because your back judge is the ones keeping time. So announcing that each and every down, each and every play will help your back judge and yourself stay on the same page. And then also with the last 2 minutes, the back judge should be continually announcing how much time is left. So for signaling when the clock stops or when it's rolling, so if the play ends and the player is still in bounds, there's no penalties, then there's no timeout, there's no clock stoppers whatsoever, the official is going to mark the spot and rolling. So if it's a back judge, line judge, field judge that has a spot, you're going to stop the spot and then you're going to roll. And then the ref is going to come grab the spot from you, and this signals that the clock does not stop for any reason, it's rolling. If it's an incomplete pass, the player goes out of bounds, if there's any of your clock stoppers, that's when you're going to do one of these numbers to let you know that the clock needs to stop. Additionally, I like to use my voice in addition to the signals, just so everybody's aware, because some people might not know what this means. So I'll be like clock stop, or clock rolling. And you have anything to add?
Yeah, just make sure you let them know, because sometimes the teams will get confused. They won't know that this means the clock stopped or it's still rolling, so they'll get upset like if you don't say it and they don't know it, even though it's their fault they don't know it. You have to let them know.
Yep. Do you guys have any questions about pre-shift, overtime, timing, any of that? You guys are good? Awesome.
What's next?
So we are done.
Who's next? I'll be next.